I never in my life thought I'd be making a baseball video or talking about it in general on this channel, but here we are. What I saw transpire yesterday, it was humility at its finest. I think in this life it's good to have an ego. It's good to be slightly cocky. It's good to be overconfident here and there. You gotta believe in yourself or else people's gonna walk all over you. However, when you're overconfident, when you're too cocky, when you're arrogant, when you're an a-hole, karma comes back to bite you in the butt and you're gonna get humbled whether you like it or not. I don't care how good you are at anything you do, it's a proven fact. If you act like an a-hole, you're eventually gonna get humbled. And let's just say we witnessed that firsthand, and I gotta be honest, I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it happened, but at the same time I was like, yeah, that's what you get. We're gonna talk about that, but we also get the regular scheduled football stuff we gotta talk about. I think we have 2 more additional topics to go over. As always, if you're new to the channel, we're on the road to 200K, so if you want to help us out, I would greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, it means a lot to me. And now without further ado, let's get into it. If you are here for the football talk, just stick around, but I gotta go over the juicy stuff first, and that's what happened in Knoxville, Tennessee. I think the 2 most boring sports to watch is golf and baseball. They're just boring to me. They're too long. They need to speed it up or do something. Now, if you like that and that's your cup of tea, feel free to go at it. That's just not how I rock. The only reason I enjoyed golf somewhat growing up was because of Tiger Woods, and he completely saved the game. If Tiger Woods did not come along, I don't know what would have happened, but thankfully he did. But now that he's gone, I'm kind of like, I don't really care anymore. I don't have a favorite player to go watch. Because Tiger, man, he brought that excitement, he brought that emotion to the game where all these other boring golfers, they didn't have. And as fans and as viewers, what do we like to see? That passion, that aggression. Switching it over to baseball, I think there is potential there. There is that aggression and passion. We see players do bat flips, hit people in the heads when they don't like them, but the game overall, it's way too slow. It's too slow paced for me to sit there and spend 3 hours on my couch and watch it. I believe baseball and golf, they have the same problem. When does it get really exciting? At the end of the golf tournament or the end of a baseball game. For example, in baseball, nobody really cares up until the 7th or 8th inning, and in golf, it's until the last day or the last round. The first 3 to 5 innings of baseball, nobody really cares, and the same thing for golf. Nobody really watches or cares what happens on Thursday or Friday, because in reality, you gotta win it on Sunday. And let me make this clear, I'm not talking about the die-hard fans that watch baseball or golf, I'm talking about the casual people, the main audience. Anyways, moving on to the main and focal point of this video, I said that to say this. This Tennessee baseball team, they brought that excitement. This is the first time I think in forever where I actually was keeping up with a college baseball team just because of all the antics they were doing on and off the field. It all stems from their head coach because he's already stated it. He lets his players act however they want because they can back it up. He's came out and said that's a part of their attitude and culture, and that's how they're going to play. That right there already rubbed people the wrong way because all throughout the season, they were bat flipping, and I don't mean just tossing it, I mean throwing it in the air. They would cuss out opponents, just do some crazy stuff. If you watched it or saw it on SportsCenter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This Tennessee baseball team, the current one, it was just an exciting team to watch. They were entertaining, and that's what baseball needs. And people all around the country, you couldn't say anything too bad about them because they was 57-9 in the regular season. It was arguably one of the greatest regular seasons of all time. I don't keep up with college baseball too much, but from everything I've heard, that had to be a top 5 or top 10 year. They was also one of the best offensive teams we've seen in a while, and they hit home runs like it was nothing. From top to bottom, this team was loaded, and they was clear-cut the best team in the country, no questions asked. The only downside to them and the only bad stuff people said was about their ego and about how cocky they acted on the field and arrogant. I want to make this extremely clear. I absolutely love how Tennessee acted all throughout the regular season. I know a lot of people didn't, but here's what you got to understand. The way they were acting, that's their identity. If you ever played high school, college sports, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every team has a different identity. For example, this one sticks out to me. I wound up starting varsity as a freshman in high school, so I experienced playing with a bunch of different groups of guys. Some of the teams I played for, they were way more mature, some teams were childish, some teams were better, you get the point. But I remember one year very vividly because our identity is what separated us from everybody else. I don't want to go as too far as to saying people and teams were scared to play us, but they didn't enjoy it. The reason teams didn't enjoy playing us, it was rather simple because we were the a-holes. I don't mean a-holes like these Tennessee players and being too cocky. I'm talking about more of being physical and getting in your face. I'm not even talking about me because that's just not how I played the game, but I'm talking about as a team overall. We had a bunch of dudes on the team that didn't care. And what I mean by saying they didn't care, I mean they didn't care to either A, get thrown out of the game, or B, go see you in the parking lot later that night. I wouldn't say we were cocky, it was more of, we were going to trash talk you, we were going to throw some elbows here and there, play dirty, and every time we scored, we was going to let you know about it. We were going to get in your head. It wasn't about winning or losing the game, of course, like any competitor. We wanted to win, but the main point was, you're going to remember playing us. That was our identity though. That's what made us play so good. We thrived off of the fact knowing teams hated playing us. We love being the villain. And that right there is why I can somewhat understand the way Tennessee was acting. I am not, and let me repeat, I am not condoning that type of behavior, but I can understand it. But most recently, the antics and how Tennessee was acting in the postseason, it was embarrassing and it was way too far. I myself like the cocky behavior more than probably 95% of people, but even I think this was too far. Like for me, I'm sitting on the couch watching this live just shaking my head. I was embarrassed for them. And what I'm talking about is this right here. Not even the super regional, but the regional, the first basically round of the NCAA tournament. Tennessee was trailing Georgia Tech in the last inning 4-3. And then one of their best players, Jordan Beck, he hits a double, puts Tennessee on top, but when he's rounding first base, he flicks off Georgia Tech. Maybe that's happened before. Like I said, I don't watch a ton of baseball, but I've never seen that. Here's my thing with that and the biggest dilemma. It would make more sense if Georgia Tech did that, because they're the underdogs. But Tennessee, you're the #1 team in the country. You're hosting the regional. You're supposed to be winning these games. One phrase a coach told me when I was growing up was this right here. Act like you've been there before. Yeah, if you're Georgia Tech and you flip off Tennessee, I'm not going to say much. You're the underdog. You're not supposed to win the game. But for the home team and the #1 team in the country to do that, it shows you their true colors. I guess that's the thing though. Tennessee as a program, not just baseball, but look what their football team when they threw golf balls at Lane Kiffin. That's how they act. What I've seen out of Tennessee, not just a Pacific program, what I've seen out of the entire university is embarrassing. And the saddest part about it, it's not just the fans or the players, it's everybody involved. That was just the regional though. Tennessee goes on to win that, and yesterday and a couple days before, they're playing in the Super Regionals, hosting it against Notre Dame. According to the people that make the College World Series rankings or whatever you want to call them, Notre Dame wasn't even ranked. So we had #1 Tennessee hosting unranked Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a good team, and I heard the announcers talking about them. They should have been ranked, but it is what it is. And well, what do you know? Notre Dame upsets Tennessee, beats them in the last game 7-3, and it wasn't even close. I'm not going over every single thing Tennessee has done leading up to this point. If you kept up with it, you know it's too much to talk about. My point is, and this is a lesson to every person watching this, especially if you play sports, it's good to stay humble sometimes. Although, yes, I advocate for being confident and you got to be slightly cocky, you don't want to get too cocky. If you hit a home run and you do a bat flip, that's okay, you're celebrating it. But when you start flicking off people, doing stuff like that, it's too far. Okay, I have some bad news. I spent more time talking about that baseball topic than I originally planned on, so maybe I'll just hold off on the football topics and combine those two into one video later ttonight. Yeah, let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about that. Yeah, that's everything I wanted to go over and talk about. Let me know your thoughts down below. But peace out, peace, man.